Hi, I'm Sarah from You Floral, and today I'm going to show you guys how to make a holiday centerpiece just like this. To start off, I'm going to tell you guys what supplies you need, and then we're going to walk step by step through how to make your very own. So the supplies that I'm using today is this agar wool. You can use floral foam if you like, but this is a more environmentally friendly option, which is actually biodegradable. Then I'm also going to need pruners. I've got a knife here to cut my agar wool. I've got a vessel. You can use really any type of vessel that you like. I've got pine cones. This is 24-inch florist wire. And then for the part that I'm making it out of, I have a couple different flowers here. So these ones here are spray mums. I've got some miniature carnations here. And this is another type of mum here. These ones are button mums. I love these three type of flowers because they're super long lasting, and that's essential for putting in a Christmas centerpiece. So this whole thing should last you probably 3 weeks, so getting you through the entire Christmas season. These miniature carnations are quite closed right now because these are only a day old. And that's kind of what you get when you have bulk flowers because they're so fresh when I send them to you guys. They have a closed bud like that, but then they'll open up in a few days. When they're closed like that, you get a super long lasting lifespan out of them. And then in terms of greenery over here, I've got a couple different types of greenery. You can obviously use whatever type you want. I've got some seeded eucalyptus here. I've got some cedar. And then I've got, I actually don't know what type this is. It's another type of greenery here. So these are what I need for supplies wise. And now let's get right to making it. So now we're going to need to cut our foam to fit the right size for our vessel. I've got a kitchen knife here and I've just kind of sized up where I need to cut. And you can obviously use the green sort of traditional type of floral foam, or you can even use chicken wire is another option. Whether you're using this agar foam or if you're using traditional foam, you don't want to push it into your water. You just gently put it on top and it will submerge itself. The foam takes up a huge volume of water. As you can see, it kind of siphoning down there. And then as a few days go by, you can actually put more water into your vessel and the foam will reuptake it just to keep your flowers nice and hydrated. I'm just gonna let it drip off a little bit here before putting it into my container here. All right. And then now it's time to start adding in the greenery. So no matter what type of arrangement you're making, whether it's a wedding centerpiece or a bridal bouquet or obviously the holiday centerpiece, you're gonna wanna start first with your greenery and then add in your flowers second. So I'm gonna start with adding in some of this greenery here, and I'm just gonna start by adding it into the bottom part of my base. And I'm just kind of putting it around the base here. I'm just kind of shoving it in evenly as I go. The floor foam is great because it provides a lot of structure to your arrangement. So you can kind of put in flowers wherever you want. I like using a mix of different greenery because I find that it adds a lot of texture to arrangement, and that's really what kind of sets arrangements apart from kind of looking blah to looking really luxe, is having a variety of flowers and greenery. So I kind of say a nice rule of thumb is to have 2 types of greenery and to have, say, 3 to 5 different types of flowers. So I've got now like a nice base here on the bottom of this greenery, so I'm going to start adding up on top with some of this cedar. Just cutting my pieces into smaller chunks. I don't want to have too big or I'll end up with sort of a really wild looking arrangement. And I'm just going to keep adding these all the way around and starting to build in a little bit from the top. I'm not going to put them too close together because I want to leave space for my flowers. So I'm just kind of placing them throughout with a little bit of space in between. So you just keep on doing that until the top is filled and the sides are filled. So now I've got my vessel all what we call greened out. Got a bunch of different greenery in here. You can see that I don't have it totally chock full, and that's to leave space in here for my flowers. So I'm gonna start adding now. The thing about using spray mums is they often have these sort of little nubbies on top that have no flowers. I'll just cut those off and also cut off any flowers that are obviously not in their best form. I've got a little one here that's not love and life. And then I'm just gonna start adding these in. I try to work with the bigger flowers first because they kind of take up the most space, and then I'll kind of fill in the gaps with the smaller blooms. For today, I don't really have a big difference between big and small ones, but there could be times where maybe you're using baby's breath as an accent piece, or limonium, or something that's a little bit smaller. And so in that case, you would want to do the bigger blooms first and then add in the smaller things. So I'm just kind of working my way around the arrangement kind of in a clockwise fashion, just adding in my bigger blooms first. I'm just kind of shoving them into the foam. I think I shoved that one a little hard and broke it, so I'm just gonna back out and try that again. The foam can be a little bit tricky to find the spot where it's gonna fit in, so sometimes you have to try a couple times to find that sort of sweet spot where it'll stick well. Taking off some of these excess leaves as well, and there's that little nub I was telling you guys about. So you don't need all these leaves kind of cluttering up the space. Also, flowers have a lot of leaves that come with them, so that's something that you definitely will want to remove is those extra leaves there. You can see that I'm staggering the size of the blooms too, and the position of where they are. So this one's a little bit more upright. Then I'm going to come in over on this side and just have this one a little bit lower facing. And that's, again, it's kind of one of those secrets to having a sort of luxe looking bouquet, is having different heights and different textures and just varying it. I'm gonna add in these buttons here, again, kind of taking away these little ones that don't really add anything to it, kind of nestling them between my more burgundy. It's a little tricky sometimes when you get kind of to this stage to find an open spot of foam, so gotta kind of try a little bit. Taking off my extra blooms. Stick this one in here, and then my last one for these button mums. When you're prepping your flowers, when you get them, you want to make sure to always cut the ends at an angle and put them into water right when you get them. The reason you cut the ends and give them a fresh snip is just so that they have the best opportunity to uptake water and be hydrated. Even if we're not arranging for a couple hours, I still do that just to make sure that once I've got them, they're nice and hydrated, so when they go into my arrangement, they've had a chance to really uptake that water. So now I've got kind of the bulk of my big flowers kind of filling up the space, and now it's time to add in the smaller ones, which in this case I'm using carnations. So this is kind of what I was telling you about by using the smaller ones at the end. This one here, you can see I split it into two pieces by just doing a cut here. So now I've got two stems here. And I'm just gonna take these carnations and kind of intersperse them throughout to give a little bit of height and visual texture. These carnations are gonna open up more in a couple days. So then we'll be able to really have the full visual of what this is going to look like. When I'm arranging, I just kind of like to spin it around so that way I can get an idea of where I need to put my blooms next. Maybe sort of change up the spot of some of them. Maybe I made a piece a little bit big or whatnot, or I see a bloom that's not happy and can kind of cut it. So you're just going to keep doing that, keep adding in blooms, spinning it just to see where the best spot for them is, and just kind of cutting any ones off that look a little bit rogue here. So I think I'm pretty happy with how I've filled it out here. I might do another once over, but I thought I'll show you guys next how to add in the pine cone to it. So I've got here just a skewer just from my kitchen, and I've got this 24 gauge florist wire. So I'm gonna roll out my wire a piece about this big. I'm gonna cut it, and then I'm gonna take my pine cone and take the wire and just nestle it in between the nubs of the pine cone until I make those come together, and then I'm twisting it. So that gives you a pine cone on a wire. And then I'm gonna take my stick here, lay it next to the wire, and just take the wire and wrap it around. Making sure that it's nice and firm. And so now my pine cone can be put into my arrangement and just into the floral foam. Gives a little push. It kind of adds a nice little texture there. So just gonna do a once over, see if there's any other spots where I want to add. I think I'm gonna add one more carnation up here. And then you can see also if you need to add any more greenery, if there's any pieces that are sort of missing, but I think I'm pretty happy with this. So thank you guys for coming and watching today, me make a holiday centerpiece. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop me a line. My email is hello@youfloral.ca, and you can follow me on Instagram at _youfloral or my website at youfloral.ca. Thanks everybody.